interface. We have already noted the four key features of the WIMP interface that give it its name: windows, icons, pointers, and menus. And we will now describe these in turn. There are also many additional interaction objects and techniques commonly used in WIMP interfaces, some designed for specific purposes and others more general. We will look at buttons, toolbars, palettes, and dialog boxes. Windows. Windows are areas of the screen that behave as if they were independent terminals in their own right. A window can usually contain text or graphics and can be moved or resized. More than one window can be on a screen at once, allowing separate tasks to be visible at the same time. Users can direct their attentions to the different windows as they switch from one thread of work to another. If one window overlaps the other, the back window is partially obscured and then refreshed when exposed again. Overlapping windows can cause problems by obscuring vital information, so windows may also be tiled when they adjoin but do not overlap each other. So, windows, ito yung regular na lumalabas sa mga screen natin kapag tayo ay gagamit ng isang application. Ang window ay naglalaman ng mga text o graphics at ito ay nalilipat at nare-resize. Higit sa isang windows ang pwedeng pagsabay-sabayin na gamitin sa screen. Kasi, dahil sa paggamit nito, mas napapadali yung ating ginagawa kasi mas nakikita natin ng sabay yung mga application na dapat nating gamitin. Icons. Windows can be closed and lost forever, or they can be shrunk to some very reduced representation. A small picture is used to represent a closed window, and this representation is known as an icon. By allowing icons, many windows can be available on the screen at the same time, ready to be expanded to their full size by clicking on the icon. Shrinking a window to its icon is known as iconifying the window. When a user temporarily does not want to follow a particular thread of dialogue, he can suspend that dialogue by iconifying the window containing the dialogue. Icons, ito yung isang picture or symbol na ginagamit natin upang i-represent ang isang software application or hardware device. Ito yung kapag nag-close ka ng isang Windows, yung maliit na picture, siya yung tinatawag bilang icon. Menus. The last main feature of windowing system is the menu, an interaction technique that is common across many non-windowing systems as well. A menu presents a choice of operations or services that can be performed by the system at a given time. Menus, ito yung sinabi na last feature of windowing system. Ito yung list ng mga option of services kung saan mapipili ng user kung ano ang kailangan niya o nating gawin. Pointers. The pointer is an important component of the WIMP interface since the interaction style required by WIMP relies very much on pointing and selecting things such as icons. The mouse provides an input device capable of such tasks, although joysticks and trackballs are other alternatives. Pointers, ito yung madalas nating nakikita sa ating screen, which is yung arrow. Ito yung isang mahalagang bahagi ng WIMP interface dahil ang estilo ng interface na kailangan ng WIMP ay lubos na umaasa sa pointing at pagpili ng mga bagay tulad ng mga icons.
What is interactivity? Interactivity is interact between the computers and the users. So, yung interactivity daw po, ito ay nakikipag-interact sa computer at sa users. It is worth remembering that interactivity is defining features of an interactive system. This can be seen in many areas of HCI. For example, the recognition rate for speech recognition is too low to allow transcription from tape. But in an airline reservation system, so long as the system can reliably recognize yes and no, it can reflect back implicit understanding of what you said and seek confirmation. All WIMP systems appear to have virtually the same elements: windows, icons, menus, pointers, dialog boxes, button, etc. Menus are the major difference between the Mac OS and Microsoft Windows environments. In Mac OS, you can have to keep the mouse depressed throughout menu selection. In Windows, you can click the menus bar and a pull-down menus appear and remains there until an item is selected or it's cancelled. The major example of this is modal dialog boxes. It is often the case that when a dialog boxes appear, the application will not allow you to do anything else, but the dialog boxes has been completed and cancelled. So, ang interactivity daw po ay makikita sa iba't ibang parte ng HCI or tinatawag na human-computer interaction. For example, speech recognition, pag mahina or di maganda yung pinoproceed na sound ni human, ibig sabihin hindi madidetect ng computer yung word na sinasabi niya. Ang pangunahing halimbawa nito ay ang modal dialog boxes. Madalas, pag ino-open mo yung modal dialog boxes, may lilitaw na parang description. Tapos kapag may lumitaw na description sa modal boxes, kailangan mo munang makumpleto yung ginagawa or makancel bago ka makapag-open ng iba pang applications. Interactivity is also critical with dealings with errors. If user can detect errors, then they can correct them. So based on my own understanding, ang interactive daw po ay meron ding mga mali. Pero kapag yung user yung gagamit, pwede niyang makita yung mga errors at pwede niyang mapalitan ng tamang words. This ability to detect and correct is important both a small scale and the button express and keystroke and also the large scale. For example, if you have sent a client a letter and accept a reply, you can put in your diary a note on the day you expect a reply. If the other person forget to reply or the letter gets lost in the post, you know to send a reminder or ring when the due day passes. So, yung example po is, di ba po halimbawa, nagpadala ka ng sulat sa kliyente mo. Pwede kang maglagay ng mga notes doon para malaman mo kung kailang dapat makareceive ng reply. Pero kapag di ka nakareceive ng reply, pwede ka naman magbigay sa kanila ng feedback para i-remind sila na ngayon yung araw ng due nila ng pagre-reply sa'yo.
The context of interaction. The context of interaction refers to the micro level of context around the interaction between the user and the product. Ang context of interaction po ay nagre-refer sa pagitan ng user at ng product. The context of interaction describes how the actual conditions under which the software system used. Determining the context of the system means describing how the software system interacts with the user normal day-to-day situations. Ang context of interaction din po ay nag-a-allow sa application na i-modify para makita kung paano mag-interact dun sa user.
Experience, engagement, and fun. However, user no longer see themselves as cog in a machine. Increasingly, applications are focused outside the closed work environment. Experience, home, entertainment, shopping. Not enough that people can use a system. Hindi sapat na nagagamit ng tao ang isang sistema. They must want to use it. Dapat gusto nilang gamitin ito. Psychology of experience. Flow. Dapat alam natin yung daloy. Balance between anxiety and boredom. Balancing pagkabalisa at pagkapagod. Education. Zone of proximal development. Things you do cannot do with help. Mga bagay na hindi mo nagagawa na tulong mo.
Design. Design is a field that focuses on the interface between people and computers. The golden rule of design. The designs we produce may be different, but often the raw materials are the same. Look at a chair with a steel frame and one with a wooden frame. In contrast, wooden chairs have thicker, solid legs. This is equally important in other design areas. For example, the way you fit seats and windows into an airplane's hull affects the safety and strength of the aircraft as a whole. So, ang bawat disenyo daw po ay na ginagawa natin is magkakaiba. Ngunit sa ibang materials, meron itong pagkakapareho. Hindi tignan natin yung upuan na may bakal na frame at yung upuan na kahoy ang frame. Yung kahoy na upuan is, ayun yung mas may makapal at matibay na paa. Ang kalidad ng design ang higit na mahalaga. Halimbawa, ang kalidad na ang nilagay na upuan at bintana sa eroplano ay nakaka-epekto sa safety at strength ng kabuuang aircraft. Next, the air is human. This is particularly obvious when it comes to failures, but interfaces are slow or error-prone to use. But interface cost money and cost lives. This is not human error, an excuse to hide behind accident reports. It is human nature. A concrete lintel breaks and a building collapses. People are remarkable, adaptable, and unlike concrete lintels, can get stronger. But better training and documentation are not a panacea. Under stress, arcane or inconsistent interfaces will lead to errors. If you design using a physical material, you need to understand how and where failures would occur and strengthen the construction, build in safety features or redundancy. Similarly, if you treat the human with as much consideration as a piece of steel or concrete, it is obvious that you need to understand the way human failures occur and build the rest of the interface accordingly. So, ang ibig sabihin lang po dito is, ang tao sa panahon ngayon ay kumukonekta lamang siya sa mundo ng teknolohiya, na kung saan ang teknolohiya ay tao rin ang gumawa gaya ng mga computer na nilagyan ng program para iutos na magbigay ng madali at matatag na impormasyon para agad itong maintindihan ng tao. The last one, the central message to user. In this book, you will find information on basic psychology, on particularly technologies, on methods and models. However, there is one factor that outweighs all this knowledge. It is about attitude. Often it is said that the success of the various methods used in HCI lies not in how good they are, but in that they simply focus the mind of the designer on the user. This is the core interaction design. Put the user first, keep the user in the center, and remember the user at the end. So, ito ay ibinibigay ng user at ng pangunahing pakikipag-ugnayan nito sa pagitan ng tao at computer ay makabuluhan. Kaya naman kaganda ang disenyo, ang gumagamit pa rin ang maaaring magmanipula nito at magkaroon ng pangunahing kadahilanan kung paano ito mamanipula, at ang output ay nasa kamay lamang ng gumagamit.
Process of design. Often, HCI professionals complain that they are called in too late, and if the system has been designed and built kapag napatunayang hindi na ito magagamit, they think to ask how to do it right. In other companies, usability is seen as equivalent to testing. Sinusuri kung magagamit ito ng mga tao at kaya pang ayusin kung ano ang problema sa system. In the best companies, however, usability is designed in from the start. Requirements. What is wanted, the first stage is establishing what exactly is needed. Bilang pasimula dito, kadalasan ay kinakailangan upang malaman kung ano ang kasalukuyang nangyari. Some example is how people currently watch movies. What sort of personal appliances do they currently use? There are number of techniques used for the thing in HCI. Interviewing people, videotaping them, looking at the documents and object that they work with, observing them directly. Analysis. Dito na makikita yung resulta ng observation at ng interview used to be ordered in some way to bring out key issues and communicate with the later stages design. In chapter 15 to 18 ay tumatalakay sa mga modelo ng gawain na isang paraan upang makuha kung paano isinasagawa ng mga tao ang iba't ibang gawain na bahagi ng kanilang trabaho. In this chapter, we will look at the scenarios, rich stories of interaction which can be used in conjunction with the method like task analysis or on their own to record and make vivid actual interaction. Ang pamamaraan na ito ay maaaring gamitin to represent the situation it is and also the desired situation. Design. There are numerous rules, guidelines, and design principles that can be used to help with this and chapter 7. And sa chapter 10 naman ay patungkol kung ano ang magiging itsura at paano gagamitin ng iba't ibang users ang account. Kailangan ding i-record yung mga design na napili nila. There are various notations and methods to do this, including those used to record the existing situation. Chapter 16, 17, and 18 deal with ways of modeling and describing interaction. In this chapter, section 5.6 ay tinitignan naman yung mga simpleng notations sa designing navigation na kinakailangan sa system and some basic heuristics to guide the design of that navigation. And sa section 5.7 naman ay look more closely at the layout of individual screens. It is at this stage also where input from theoretical work is most helpful, including cognitive models, organizational issues, and understanding communication. Irritation and prototyping. Ang mga tao ay komplikado at hindi natin maaasahan na makakakuha ng mga disenyo ng tama sa unang pagkakataon. We therefore need to evaluate a design to see how well it is working and where there can be improvements na matatalakay sa chapter 9. Some forms of evaluation can be done using the design on paper, ngunit mahirap makakuha ng tunay na feedback nang hindi sinusubukan. More user interface design therefore involves some form of prototyping, producing early versions, implementation, and deployment. Implementation and deployment. This will involve writing code, perhaps making hardware, writing documentation, and manuals. Lahat ng ito ay napupunta sa isang real system na maaaring ibigay sa iba. In Chapter 8, ay haharap sa mga architecture software para sa mga user interface at mga detalye tungkol sa pagpapatupad ng groupware in Chapter 19 at mga web interface naman sa Chapter 21.